And a weekend of crisis management with the global pandemic and global warming center stage. China's Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin won't be there in person, but will events remotely. Also,
hello all, it is about 4:30. To give more people time to trickle in, we start traditionally at about, 4:35. So give us just a few seconds. Around 4:35, I'll go over an agenda, and just a general flow of how this press conference will be conducted. It will be recorded. Recordings will be available per email on an email basis. If you received a media advisory, you can send a request to the email on the advisory. If you do not have an advisory, and you would like the recording of this press conference, please put your email in the chat. I just sent you the correct link. I just texted it to you. Okay, I will begin. My name is Channing Hill.
Recording in progress.
My name is Channing Hill. I am the Howard University NAACP president and the National Legislative Director for the Live Movement. I am a student who sleeps, eats, drinks, works, goes to class out through the Blackburn building. I am in the building right now. And I'm in the building right now, along with a lot of students, lots of students. We sleep on air mattresses. We sleep in sleeping bags. They sleep in makeshift pallets on the floor, and people get in where they fit in. They sleep in tents outside in the concrete. The meeting and the press conference called here today is to give a few updates on negotiations, as this is day 17 that students have been sleeping on concrete outside of the Blackburn Center and inside of the Blackburn Center in regards to the issues happening at our university. The facilitation, the run of show for this meeting will go as such. I will introduce Erica England, who will speak to, according to her agenda. I will introduce Mr. Marcus Alfred and Maria P. Jones. We are expecting Reverend Jexy Jackson to join us at some point during this meeting. He said he would be here. If he is not here, hopefully he will be here tomorrow. But we are praying for his health, and we appreciate all of his support, and we will begin the meeting. Erica England.
Hello. Also wanted to highlight that our council will be joining us as well with a couple of remarks, and we can get started. My name is Erica England. I am a student at Howard University. I could highlight a returning student at Howard University. I was a student years ago for a year, and that year was extremely rough for me, causing me to leave for some years. And I wanted to come back and complete my education at Howard because I loved Howard that much. Upon returning to Howard, though, I started to notice that things hadn't much improved since when I was first there. And now, fast forward to this year, things have gotten incredibly worse. I don't think a lot of students realize it would be this difficult of a semester, and that we would feel as though our administration was not listening to us, not empathetic to our needs, not resolving issues with us in a timely manner. And it has been traumatic this semester, for lack of a better word. It's been traumatic. We are now at a point where it's come to a boiling point, I'll say. We have been emailing, we've been talking, we've had 2 other protests this semester before Blackburn. And it seems as though administration is just not hearing us or not wanting to hear us. I don't know if other folks knew that there were 2 other protests this semester alone, and things didn't change. We had a town hall from our student government, and none of the administrators showed up to this town hall. From my understanding, there were many dates that were given, and it was pushed off as an afterthought. Now, students were feeling as though, again, we had been let down. And it took a massive protest like this one, garnering national attention, to finally get the administration to at least acknowledge us. The school didn't start making things safer for students until 2 months after the fall semester started. At the beginning of the semester, students were asking for things that they felt that they needed, things that we did need, things for their rooms, things for learning materials, things for our education, things that we needed in order to thrive and learn and feel safe here. And we didn't receive them. I would say that the protest is what made Howard finally pay attention and finally start to move. But my question is, why weren't these things in place before students came back for the fall semester? Why is it just now that people are paying attention to the mold issue on campus? Why did it take a cyber attack for the school to realize that their infrastructure for Wi-Fi wasn't that great to begin with? Students are still having to walk down the street to the local McDonald's and Starbucks to log into class because their Wi-Fi keeps going in and out. The number of mold cases that has been reported, I don't think is accurately reflecting the real story and the real cases. Just from inside of Blackburn alone, 6 students have said that they have had mold in their rooms. There is no way that there's only 34 cases that's being reported when 6 of them are inside of Blackburn. Our protests, if anything, helped students because they finally got them the attention and the care that they needed. Something that our university and our administration and our board should have been paying attention to before we ever stepped foot on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, for those updates. Mr. Alfred, do you mind your remarks next?
No problem. Good afternoon. I'm Marcus Alfred. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy at Howard, and I'm also the chair of the HU Faculty Senate. The Faculty Senate of Howard University is happy to stand with our community. The ethics of our profession as academics demands it. As a reminder, the HU Faculty Senate voted to recommend that the HU administration and board, among other things, address student housing, reinstate the affiliate trustees, and hold open town halls with the students, and neither punish nor retaliate against student protesters. I'd also like to emphasize that the students have not exaggerated the problems faced by students and faculty regarding services at Howard, nor have they exaggerated the lengths we often have to go to in order to get responses and corrective action from the HU administration. Just as a quick example, I'll send a link, I'll put a link in the chat to Howard Chemists, their Twitter page. And you can kind of see some of the things that we're seeing in the academic buildings that kind of coincide with what the students are saying.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alfred. Ms. Jones.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Channing. My name is Medea Jones, and I'm a 1988 graduate of Howard University, and I'm also a member of the Capstone Group. And the Capstone Group is a galvanized body of faculty, alumni, community, and soon to be students, really. And we definitely, unequivocally support what the students are doing. These are basic human rights issues. They deserve to be treated like first-class citizens. They deserve to have their money's worth, $48,000 a year in tuition. They deserve all of that. Their demands aren't demanding as they have repeated. They should stand by and continue to be courageous. We want to thank you, students, on behalf of the alumni, for your courage, your faith, your unflappable spirit. You have done what the adults have not done, right? You have risked it all. And really, we have risked nothing. And really, it's time for the adults, you're adults, but you know what I mean, the alumni, to step up and to have just as much courage as you all have because you're advocating for us, you're advocating for yourselves, you're advocating for the faculty. It is absolutely, I'm challenging all alumni, wherever you are in the United States and the global diaspora, wherever you are, you must step up and say stop to President Frederick and the Board of Trustees. Grant these students amnesty for righteously promoting their cause, which is basic housing, which is to meet with him face to face and have this town hall, which is to reinstate students, faculty, and alumni, so that we can have a voice. Anything else is less than democratic. We must have democracy. We must be reinstated, right? And then when we are reinstated, because we will be, because we believe in this, when we are reinstated, we will increase the capacity of those seats on the board so that we have power. It's not just symbolic representation. That's not it. So really, let me just say, Howard University has been such an impactful, it's had such an impact on my development, on thousands of alumni's development, right? And I'm talking about the shining soul and spirit of Howard is the faculty, is the staff, and is the students. The administrators have always been detached. And I'm not sure why, but maybe we should explore self-hate, okay? Because anytime you treat your children with disdain, there's something wrong, all right? We should also explore Howard going in a corporate direction. And that's very dangerous to the institution of education, putting in subcontractors instead of people who, like Dean Keene or Dean Bland, who had relationships with the young people. So yes, I could go on, but I think, like I said, calling on all alum, we have to build coalition. We want to thank Howard Alumni United for starting a new self-governed alumni group. But we have to build coalition, we have to take legal action, and we have to reinstate these seats to the board, and we have to stand up for these young people. We cannot let them be harmed at all. We cannot let this happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the support. There is a narrative out here. This narrative that Howard University administration has painted this protest as an unsupported movement of a few selective students. People have asked us, where are the alumni? People have asked us, where is the community? If this is such a widespread issue, where are they? And we called this press conference today to show you, here they are. And here's their unwavering support from the faculty, from the alumni. Is anybody from Reverend Jesse Jackson's office here?
Yes, this is Reverend Wilson. I'm here.
Okay.
Reverend Jackson is he's in another meeting that he's trying to conclude. It's internet. Yes, so that's why he's not. You have media on, just students.
We actually have a few remarks from our legal counsel as well, while we're waiting for him to get on the line.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm not going to be long. Good afternoon. I'm Donald Temple, Howard graduate and previous lawyer for the students in 89, 2018 and presently. I just want to report on the status of negotiations. Students asked that I represent them pursuant to an invitation by Dr. Frederick that they have legal counsel. And on Sunday, we immediately requested to meet with the administration because the students were interested in the resolution and presenting their demands and negotiating them one by one. There are 4. And pursuant to that request, there was a meeting that was scheduled on Monday, and the student leaders, myself, the university's provost, and 2 lawyers attended. And when we arrived at that meeting, we were told expressly by the university's council that the president would not be negotiating with the students and would not be discussing their concerns. Further, we were asked about Amnesty, and the university lawyer indicated that the president was not going to put Amnesty on the table and would have no negotiations whatsoever to the students left. We indicated that that's not the way negotiations happen, and that we were ready, willing, and able at that point in time to negotiate with the university. The students had taken quite a bit of time out of their schedule on Sunday to go over the demands and to attempt with everything that they had to resolve this issue. The meeting was unsuccessful because the university indicated that it would not negotiate with the students. We were persistent, and on Tuesday, we asked for a second meeting. Again, the students initiated the meeting with the administration to at least try to have negotiations. Prior to that meeting, we were told that once again, the university position was the same, that it would not be negotiating with the students. Notwithstanding that representation, we met this time in Douglas Hall and the first time in the Founders Library. And the students were extremely respectful, extremely professional. And for the record, they're all in their ages 19, 20, 21 years old. And they're all incredible young women. And when we arrived at this particular meeting, this time we sat down again and we were told that the president was not going to negotiate. And by negotiate, that meant that there would not be a discussion of their respective demands. We went back and forth on amnesty. And the students were told that despite that, notwithstanding the circumstances, that if they had taken over this building, they should not expect amnesty. And the students responded that they wouldn't be put in this situation. And now they're being punished because of what the university did in their attempt to hold the university accountable. And we briefly discussed negotiations. And again, we were told that there would not be a negotiation. And afterwards, the university indicated that they might consider amnesty. Since then, that was if the students would stop speaking to the media and leave the Blackburn Center. Students rejected that. On Thursday morning, we reached out to the university yet for a third time. And they asked for a draft amnesty agreement. And we did prepare a draft amnesty agreement for them, which is peculiar to this particular protest and student circumstances. The objective of an amnesty agreement is obviously to ensure that they're not retaliated against. And it's a comprehensive kind of a document to make sure that they're not suspended, expelled, scholarships taken away, with other provisions that give them an opportunity to catch up in their classes and the like. That document was transmitted this afternoon to the university. We asked them for a meeting on Thursday. There was no response. We asked them for a meeting to follow up on that. We asked them for a meeting today. On behalf of the students, we indicated that we would be willing to meet tonight at 8 o'clock, and that we had to stay all night at the negotiating table, that we would do that. There's not been a response now. They've gone from not negotiating to not communicating with the students at all regarding any kind of negotiations. The students have 4 demands, and those 4 demands include what we talked about, which is amnesty. But in addition to that, what you heard regarding affiliate trustees. And they asked for a housing protocol that would protect the students. And the beautiful thing about what the students asked for, they're not asking for themselves. They're asking to put in something in play so that this doesn't happen again for future students. And the last thing is that they wanted to have a meeting with the chair of the board and the president with the students. So as we speak today, we're at an impasse and we're awaiting to hear from the university. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jeanette.
Yes, Reverend Jackson has spoken, he spoke with the president yesterday after we had the first conversation with some of the students that are here now. And, we raised the same concerns. The president indicated that they had already started to make some of the mold repairs, eradicating the mold, and that there's a difference in the number of rooms that are mold infested versus between what students are saying. This is based on what the president is saying and what the administration is indicating that they have already addressed. So has any of the mold been addressed?
The university has, to answer your question, the university has not answered that question for us, to be frank. So they've gone and cleaned, and students who've had mold in their rooms who are sleeping in this building said that somebody came to remediate the issue of the mold and picked up a mushroom and threw it in the trash. Or they came and wiped down the counters with bleach. However, we all know that mold is not necessarily a surface level issue, but issue where you may have to take up the carpets and look for a growth and look for a source and look for causation and study the foundation of the issue. And the mold is not just a mold, in a physical mold in the dorms that they have yet to remediate, that they claim to have remediated, but will not make public exactly how they've done that, with what organizations they've done that, and with what resources they've done it by. They have not made public what buildings exactly were investigated to have mold, and all of these buildings on campus are very old. This mold is almost a metaphor for the infestation that's happening in Howard's administration. It's like the surface level picture. It's the ugliness growing outwards in such a physical way. Is the Reverend available to hop on now?
Not at this moment. Trying to wait for him to get on. He's trying to see if he can get to DC tomorrow. And I think it might be easier. The weather is so challenging here. It might be today, but he wants to come and meet with you guys and have you give him a tour of the facilities that are infested with mold.
Yes, ma'am. We can speak on that further. I will go ahead and present my updates. We appreciate his support and his fortitude in this situation as well, his solidarity. As our council has already explained, the university has shifted from a position.
One second. Oh, 1 second.
We will hold for 1 second.
Channing Hill, if I may, will you be accepting questions from the press, please? This is Valerie Hill, Texas Metro News.
Okay. Reverend Jackson is going to talk to you right now. He's going to interrupt his meeting and talk to you guys, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
If you can have the attorney just brief him and then you brief him. That would be helpful. All right.
Yes, ma'am. So what we're gonna do is, in order to prepare for Reverend Jackson, we are going to move those specific people to another room. And Erica will sit in this room, and we will have a brief intermission.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Yeah, this is okay. Let me. My phone is dying, so I'm gonna have to. Huh?
Hello?
Hey, James.
Reverend Jeanette? Did she get disconnected? We're going to give their office a few seconds to become reconnected. Thank you all so much for your patience. Reverend Jeanette? Reverend Jeanette?
Okay, Channing, here's Reverend.
How are you, Channing? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much. Reverend?
Yes.
We would just like we just appreciate your support so much. Everyone here, I've been talking about how they've been asking, how does the community support you? You know, how do you stay strong in here? And I've been telling them your support, your unwavering support, has been morale boosting for students. Potentially to see you here, and we would just like you to speak on a little bit of how you've supported us, you know.
I talked with the administration person on Wednesday, and I told you I would.
Yes.
And then back to us yesterday out today, I mean, recently, I mean, more. I made very clear that I'm concerned that students who are protesting, best tradition of our freedom fighters, and that they should not be in any way punished, should be appreciated really for standing up for justice. Really, the issue is not just how it is the state of Black education in America. In some sense, Howard is in a protest move. A lot of universities, before it's 50 universities around the country, cutting the education budget for Blacks in the budget big time. Was fighting for the bigger budget. So we want to stand with you. I'll be with you tomorrow around 6:30 tomorrow afternoon. I promise you I would. And let's talk with the media and everybody about our concerns. It's not just it's Howard, but it's not just Howard. So no students today who say that there's filth in their rooms and then the ducts. The president said that there were 30 rooms, they've already been fixed up. But they said there are more than 30 rooms. Am I right about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would, it's funny to us that the president says that there are 30 rooms with mold when, as we continue to post, it's not just the bedrooms and the dorm rooms with mold and infrastructure and mildew, it's our classrooms. It's possibly this building that we're protesting in, and they haven't done the proper investigation to see that. And furthermore, there are 30 across the entire campus, and 6 of them, we seem to have at least a third of them in this building right now. So the math doesn't seem to be mathing, Reverend.
If I come and sit tomorrow, you guys meet me in there.
Yes, sir. We'll wait on you.
Look forward to seeing you.
Look forward to seeing you too.
The media and everybody else that we're interested in the plight of children at Howard.
that you should not be facing amnesty or any kind of punishment. You represent a voice that must be heard. We must demand more of our Congress. We made this Congress to Congress. We made the president the president. We have a right to demand first education of our children. But in Howard, Mississippi Valley, or Tougaloo, or Hampton, let your neighborhood should have an education. Howard represents that thrust. But these are your times in which you're speaking. I will speak with you tomorrow night when I come down there at 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Where's Brother Kilgore?
We can connect you to him in just a second.
Kilgore is the grand nephew of my teachers in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yes, sir. He's not on right now, but I'll tell him to call you.
Love you, Channing. Okay.
This morning.
Hold on, guys. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Your lawyer, Don Temple. Where's Don?
He'll call you right now.
I'm here, Reverend Jackson. How are you?
Don, how you doing? What's the same thing you said, Don?
Sir?
What's the state of things from your perspective?
We're having impasse, sir, right now. The students have attempted 3 times and they were prepared to resolve all the demands in good faith. The university has refused to meet with them and has let them know that they have concerns about amnesty. And it appears from the questions that have been posed that they do not want to give the students amnesty. And that is a problem for us. And right now we've sent a proposal to them. We sent them a draft amnesty agreement, and we have not heard a word from their lawyers.
Now, let me say, Don, tomorrow we get there, I want to take a tour. There's where they said the defaults exist. And we'll make it. We try to meet the president, we respect him, but this is not the president, it's the Congress, really. It's those who dole out the money. We got too little money for our children, building new jails and old schools, collapsing. We're gonna change the scenario, right?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
We appreciate your support again. We're gonna go ahead and move on in our agenda with the press conference. Do you have any last remarks, Reverend Jackson?
Do you have any last remarks?
No, I see you tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, and let's tour the area and protest tomorrow night, okay, 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir. 6 o'clock.
All right.
Shannon,
Yes, sir.
let's pray.
Let's pray.
Lord God, have mercy on us. Our children fight back for that which is free and decent. Reserve an education, reserve health, reserve jobs and justice. Pray that it's time to repair damage done. Bless our children to have the courage to stand up and fight back. Be with them, and we will be with them. Amen. Love you, Channing.
Love you too.
Thank you, Channing.
Thank you, Miss Jeanette.
All right.
Sure.
What?
Okay.
Thank you all so much. I will close out the meeting. At this, we will accept, I'll be the last speaker, and we will be accepting questions at the conclusion of this meeting. We will also be sending out recordings. Like our council has expressed, we went from the beginning of the week to the university expressing a point of non-negotiation to ending the week with the university expressing no communication. We have sent amnesty forms. We have sent our demands laid out in a document that they can sign, and a signature will get us out this building. We have put solutions on the table for the university. We have gone above and beyond. We not only did the Board of Trustees job, we not only did Dr. Cynthia Evers' job, we've not only done, Wayne A.I. Frederick's job, we've gone and done the General Counsel's job and created the papers and the framework for solutions to be made here at Howard University. I'm so happy that I can get Reverend Jesse Jackson on the line to pray for me. But I am so sad that it is under these circumstances. I am so happy that I have thousands of people use with Howard's name in their papers. But I am so sad that it's under these circumstances, and I do not wish it to continue. I'm 20 years old and I'm exhausted. My mother tells me my first job and my only job up here is to go to class. But now I've had to pick up a second job, and that's to make sure me and my fellow students can breathe. Our demands are not demanding. And our protest is so peaceful. It's so simple. Black lives must matter here at Howard University, and Howard University must take the action to show that here in our home, not our backyard, in our front yard, in our houses, in our kitchens, in our bedrooms, that we make sure that we protect us. Howard University is illustrious, but the administration, Wayne A.I. Frederick, the Board of Trustees, is acting as if they are the monsters hiding in our beds and closets. Protesting is in the DNA of Howard University. We are often considered to be ground zero for monumental change, ground zero that put the first Black woman vice president into the office of this nation. That came from these hallowed halls in this yard in this Blackburn Student Center that we are laying our heads in right now. However, the university, instead of seeing us as students, has tried to paint us as criminals. I'm not a criminal. I am not a terrorist. I am not an extremist. I'm 20 years old. I'm the eldest daughter of a mama from Louisiana and a daddy from the middle of nowhere, Texas. On Thanksgiving, we eat greens, collard bread, and sweet potatoes, just like I'm sure they do in President Frederick's house. Just like I'm sure they do in the Board of Trustees' house. But why is it here that at the table where I want to eat my greens with my community, it's rats running across my feet and mold in my air conditioners and mold growing out of our ceilings and mushrooms coming out of our floors and threats of expulsion jumping from under our beds? There is a problem here at Howard University, and today in this conference, we had statements from the Alumni Association, Howard University Alumni United. We had statements from the chairman of the Faculty Senate, all voicing support. This is not a small issue of 30 students. This is an institutional issue here, not only at Howard University, but yes, in our nation. We Black students matter. And Wayne A.I. Frederick and Howard University administration need to stand up and say Black students matter, because how will you be the president of a university and not talk to the students? It is day 17 and Wayne A.I. Frederick has not talked to the students of Howard University. And his students are out here sleeping on concrete, begging for a conversation. And it is our collective voice that we are asking the university to respond to. The collective voice of the Faculty Senate, the collective voice of 4,000 alumni in the HU Alumni United, and the collective voice as a student representative and a student leader on Howard University, as the president of Howard University NAACP, as Erica England, as the president of the Howard University Young Democratic Socialists, as the president of our student association, as she walks in this building and talks with us, and as we plan and as she goes and tries to help in here, we stand collective. So today, not only in this press conference, I am calling for a vote of no confidence. And not only our president, Wayne A.I. Frederick, and our board of trustees, but in the administration, let it be known that we are asking for a vote of no confidence, because I have no confidence that my university will protect me or create an environment that I can breathe in and study in and thrive in. And that is what I deserve. And that's what Black students matter here at Howard University looks like. Thank you all again so much. Questions will be moderated through the chat. We will accept questions for just a few moments. If you raise your hand in the chat, if you raise your hand, I can call on you to see your question. First question, Miss April Ryan. Miss April Ryan, if you unmute.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Great. Thank you for accepting my question. You're saying that you are asking for a vote of no confidence of President Wayne Frederick, and the Board of Trustees have not acknowledged you. Do you believe that this call will be heard, as they are not giving you amnesty for protesting?
No.
Why do you believe that?
Call for a voice of no, and then that's why I call for a vote of no confidence. It has been 17 days that we have asked for a conversation, and we have not been heard, acknowledged, granted. Instead, we have been threatened and retaliated against. So I have no confidence that the university will even respond to this. However, I have to ask and continue to allow and put myself in spaces where somebody hears my voice. So I ask the community to support this vote of no confidence. Call on President Frederick and our Board of Trustees to implement this vote of no confidence so we can leave this building.
So, and one more question, as it relates to the protest. I know it started out at 26, I believe, day one, and you said something about 30. Are you expecting more people? How long are you willing to stay at Blackburn?
Ma'am, we will not be leaving until our demands are met. We're not leaving until the students who are in this building with mold in their rooms can confidently return to a safe room, confidently return to rooms that no longer have mold in them. There's a student in this building who was coughing up blood because he was breathing in mold. I, as his keeper, as his protector, as his sister, will not be leaving this building until all of our demands are met.
Thank you.
And you asked how long and
yes,
how many students? Yeah, we started out with about 26 to 30. There's about 50 in the building and about another 50 outside, and another 50 who come in and out regularly, whether they spend the night one day and go to work the next day. It's at maximum 150, but we're increasing campus engagement. The longer this goes on, the longer other students begin to see that if they don't stand up now, that this may continue. Student engagement in this is only increasing the longer we continue.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. The next question. And I'm not necessarily, I'll look to the chat as well.
The next question is from Valerie Hill. Ms. Hill, you can come off of mute.
So, yes, Miss England, Miss Hill, Channing Hill, I'm wondering, what are the repercussions that you are anticipating from the university? Has there been, the assumption is that, the consequences would be up to expulsion? Has there been a specific set of consequences that the university has suggested that you all receive, that the students receive?
Our lawyer may be able to answer this question, but so far, the university's language points to a direction of, they want to call us vandals and criminals. The language points to a direction of not only academic discipline, but legal discipline. Then 2018, they called SWAT to the building. So not only does retaliation look like suspension and expulsion, and to Greek life organizations that they've threatened sanctions and the removal of their organization on campus, the alpha chapters of these organizations on campus, but it looks like physical harm being done to student bodies, and it wouldn't be the first time.
If I may, the theme of the concern is that the students really worked hard and sacrificed a lot, and they want to get back to their lives. I'm not going to reiterate what they have done and how they feel in terms of not having to do the university's work, but the university has stated in the negotiations that, and by the questions of the administration and council, that the students are not deserving of amnesty because they took over the student center versus the A building, and that there's a difference. They've attempted to exaggerate that difference, even though workers are still working in the student center. And there were ways, and the students made every effort to accommodate every particular use of the building. The administration made decisions contrary to that, but putting that aside, they are very adamant by their words that they reserve the right to punish the students because the students did something that they thought the students shouldn't do and had no right to do and should not go without some sanction, be it expulsion, be it suspension, and they reserve the right. And I can say this because we visited the question, there are no damages to that building. There are no damages that are caused by students to that building. And similarly, in 2018, when the students took over, there was no damages. There were no damages to the building caused by students. So the students have been very respectful of property, but the university is pretty entrenched and immovable about having a negotiation on the students' terms. I hope that answers your question.
So, Mr. Temple, do you ultimately think that this is essentially a power struggle then?
I don't think that we have to think it's a power struggle. I think it's clearly a struggle where the university is entrenched in its views. I mean, the university won't negotiate with the students, and they're pointing the finger at the students' wrongdoing, despite the fact that they don't come to the table with clean hands at all. And so the students have underscored very genuinely their victimization, and that the only reason they were forced to do this is because month after month, there was no response to quite a few concerns. And I would underscore to you this, just as their counsel, I play a limited role, very limited role, but I know that the students wanted to resolve this. And we have done everything and even have literally led with them to negotiate with the students demand by demand so that we can have an intelligent, respectful conversation. These student leaders, as you can see, are all young Black women in their 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and a little older in one instance, but they are carrying an enormous load, and to put this burden on them. And by the way, Dr. Frederick asked that they get a lawyer, and this is very important because they're saying that it took them some time to get a lawyer, and that delayed the negotiations. But the fact of the matter is that after counsel was retained, the first meeting, they refused to negotiate with the students, even though they had counsel. The second meeting, they refused to negotiate with the students, even though they had counsel. And now they refuse to communicate with the students, even though they have counsel. So they're doing everything in their power to try to resolve this thing.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add as well, back to someone's comment about being accused of vandalism. The very first night, despite the administration not showing up for the town hall that we held, that the student government held, FUSA, they sent the police in, and then right after that, the same administrators that did not show up to the town hall, a couple of them showed up when they found out that the building was being occupied. They tried police tactics. They sent police in, and there was a comment made a couple of days later by one of the officers when he was escalating an incident with the student that they were not there to protect us, they were there to protect the building. One of the officers said that to a student. So I would just like to reiterate that we have been peaceful on our end, but sending police to Black students who are peacefully protesting is not peaceful on their end.
Thank you so much, Erica. There's another hand up, Miss Danielle Donahue. I apologize.
That's quite all right. It's Danielle Dufault. In your evaluation of how many people are physically supporting you, I wanted to just add that there are a number of students, right? Graduate students, undergraduate students, students of all kind who are actively engaged in the campus life, who are watching and rooting and supporting you guys. We understand, the cost that you've paid to date to advocate for fellow Bison. And I want to make it clear, we consider you Bison, not anything else like vandalize, or the absurdity of that is just ridiculous. The fact that I have to say that is utterly ridiculous. Nonetheless, my question is about ways in which family, I got a tweet. I tweeted out very early on in the process saying that bullying and intimidating students is unacceptable. And it was a direct tweet replying to the university. It may have even been the president's Twitter account I was replying to. Nonetheless, I'm wondering, some questions, some 700 people responded to that tweet in affirming that, in fact, it would be horrible if bullying and intimidation was happening. 2 questions. What police are showing up? Is that campus police or Capitol Police? And also, how can people be more linked in? Parents overwhelmingly responded to that tweet asking how could they help.
Thank you so much for that question. The pressure is increasing on students. When there's no amnesty on the table, when Howard has a clear history of threats, not just in this protest where day 1, they were calling the police. Day 14, a girl was getting choked by campus police in the door of Blackburn. And the community continues to show up for us by bringing supplies and donations. But we need bodies. This is a call for people to pack up a tent and put it on the yard so Dr. Frederick can look outside his window in A building, so Cynthia Evers can walk out her office. And when she walks on the yard, the first thing she sees is a tent of somebody who supports these students. They want to say, oh, well, we're going to expel everyone in the building. You can't expel a congresswoman from from the building. I'm sorry. Are you going to retaliate against Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley? As Reverend Jesse Jackson said, he promised us that he would sleep in this building with us. Is the university going to call SWAT on Reverend Jesse Jackson? The only protection we have is our voices. The only protection we have from a university that is an active threat, which is my home, the only protection that we have is our voices and the bodies in this building. They asked us they said, about 48 hours ago, before it became silence on their end, they said, well, we would look at, as in we would view with our eyes an amnesty agreement if you stop talking to the press. So they said, if we stop talking to the press, they would consider giving us amnesty. If we were also out the building and shutting down the protest by 12 p.m. the next day. So if we present ourselves to their mercy, if I get on my knees in front of President Frederick and beg him to listen to me, maybe he will consider it. This protest is our only protection. Our voices, my body is my only protection, and we need more, because I am affirmed that I'm doing the right thing, but I am terrified for the hundreds of students on this university if the university chooses not to listen, if they choose to forcibly remove us instead of listening. I am terrified for the 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds who graduated high school early in this building. I'm terrified for the trauma that they have endured, and the trauma that they continue to endure, and the trauma that they could potentially endure because Wayne A.I. Frederick refused to have a conversation. So we've had support rallying from across the country. Students flew in from Spelman today. Spelman College NAACP president was in this building today hugging me, NAACP to NAACP. We've had students from Tougaloo. We've had students from Clark, students from Morehouse, students from Hampton, students from FAMU, students from North Carolina Central in this building. And we need people to come to the building and stay until not only our demands are met, but this is resolved permanently. There's one more hand raised, Ms. Jones.
Yes, Channing, you're absolutely right. And I want to just thank all the alum on behalf of the alumni, the Capstone Group, who have come and met the call of bringing supplies and food and blankets and everything. People are constantly doing that and responding to social media. The Capstone is also, we call it on deck. We call it being out at night, serving a shift, 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., being with the students, and last night was my first night doing that. And it was emotional. It was emotional because then I could completely empathize with what was going on. The stillness of the night, the way the wind started picking up, and those students are entrenched. They believe in this righteous cause, and we have to be out there to protect them. We have to meet them halfway. And so I just wanted to build on what you were saying, Channing. You're absolutely right.
Thank you for saying that, Ms. Jones. We feel the love and the empathy coming from the community, coming from the alumni, those that have reached out to us, who have dropped off food, who've dropped off toiletries, dropped off supplies. We feel the love coming from the DC community, from the HBCU community, from faculty members, from staff who have all rallied around us and all supported us. But where is the love and the empathy from our president? Where is the love and the empathy from our administration? Where is the love and the empathy from our board? The purpose of this university was to educate Black students. We need to be able to do that safely. We need to be able to do that with care and dignity and respect. And that's not happening right now. Not when we can't even get someone to speak to us.
Our demands are not demanding. They're quite simple. And as they continue not to be heard, we continue to lose confidence in our administration and our president. So we will continue to call for a vote of no confidence. At this moment, I will conclude this press conference. I will drop my contact information and who I am in the chat room. You can contact us for further questions through our emails, or if you receive the media advisory, there is our communications person. It's kind of funny because we're giving 18-year-olds communications liaison titles that they learned how to facilitate in 2 weeks, but we will drop all of that in the chat. Thank you all so much. You can request a recorded copy of this press conference through any of the emails list on the press advisory or ours as we drop them. Thank you.